after the Olympics, and they said it would be a defining moment in the history of London.
Now give folks the date of the Olympics over there.
Sorry?
What's the exact date again of the Olympics?
I think it's the 27th of July, isn't it? And it runs until mid-September.
Because I've talked to police, and they've been told, be ready for martial law by September/October.
Yeah.
I've talked to police in Austin, Texas. I've talked to police in Dallas, St. Louis, Washington, D.C., and San Francisco, all saying the same thing. That doesn't mean they'll pull the trigger, but they're telling these guys, high level, this is going to happen. They've already federalized, in these rapid response teams, local police, key units, and they're getting ready for a global meltdown, and I think they could use the Olympics. You know, back at the Munich Olympics, they have one day in September. It's narrated by Michael Douglas, and at the end of it, they have the former head of German intelligence admit the whole thing had been staged and was fake, and that they'd staged a hijacking. And I went to and this thing won an Academy Award. Yeah. And as an afterthought, they admit they staged that at the Olympics. I forget, what year was that at the German Olympics where that happened in Munich?
Oh, it was Munich, German Olympics.
I'm going to look up Munich terror attack, Munich, 1972. And again, just at the end of the movie, the former head of German intelligence laughs and says, but you know the whole thing was staged, and we staged the hijacking, and we ran the terrorist. They ran the terrorists commanding the minions they sent who didn't even know. Can you believe the magnitude of that evil?
Yeah, and you know, and I think they're gearing up to do things like that again because, you know, as a Chief Security Officer, I'm going to be involved in apparently the evacuation of London, or a possible evacuation of London. That's exactly what they've told us. They actually spent quite a lot of time talking about the evacuation of London and this defining moment in the history of London, more so really than they told us about how to search someone and actually the mechanics of, you know, being a security officer. They were very keen on getting this information into us, that after the Olympics we would be involved in something. Now, they weren't going to say what it was, obviously, because you're going to need to know, but we were going to be involved in this evacuation of London. And a friend of mine said to me, he says, well, how would you evacuate London?
All right, let me stop you because, again, this is so bombshell. It's not that they're just planning for a contingency. They're saying this is going to happen.
They're saying that we, as security officers, are going to be involved in the evacuation of London. That's what I've got. That's my quote. That's what's written down. It's not a possible evacuation. I've said that. I said, well, maybe it's a possible evacuation because this sounds crazy. But actually, they're talking about, they said, you're going to be involved in the evacuation of London, and you will be dealing with members of the public.
Okay, I've talked to Gosling, journalist there in England, radio show there in the country. Great scoops he gives us routinely. He's one of the guys that really discovered where Bilderberg would be first this year. He can vouch for you. You sound credible, but if you are credible, and this follows the paradigm, we've gotten a lot of leaks that this is coming already. If this is credible, buddy, you better come out quick with who you are. I know you want to keep going in and getting intel, but they're going to discover who you are, and you could end up... I mean, they've killed people involved in the Rupert Murdoch investigation, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
I mean, stay there. I mean, you know how many people they killed who were in British intelligence, who had a conscience and went public how they were really running the IRA. This is hardcore. Stay there, sir. We'll be right back. Wow. Wow. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the three that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. You know, I wish that this story wasn't credible in my mind for this investigative journalist who we'll just call Lee. But I've seen it over and over again. I mean, 7/7 was a government event. You can go look up the research on it, run by MI6. Even came out, they had a former high-level FBI counterterrorism guy, John Loftus, went on Fox News and exposed it. And it was in the British papers. But it's like, okay, the head of the bombings, MI6, they set up some guys in a drill. Some of them figured it out and ran, got killed. This guy's got a lot of courage we're talking to. Lee, you've worked these IRA cases being staged by British intelligence with the FBI and others. You know a bunch of those guys got killed, including investigative journalists. I mean, you've got a lot of courage. Why are you doing this?
Because, well, A, it's in the public interest to know these things. Because if you don't know what's going on, then you can't defend against anything. If you know that the security is lax, that you know that they're actually going to turn off the walk-through metal detectors at peak times to get people into the stadium. There won't be any metal detectors on going into that stadium, and someone could basically walk through with a bomb, and you're not going to know because it's not going to ping because it's not going to be on. People need to know this. If you've got teeth and go to the Olympics, or if you're working at the Olympics, you need to know, and that's what whistleblowing is all about. You come out and you say, hey, look, this is in the public interest. I'm not doing this to be a hero. In fact, actually, I'm endangering my life by telling you this. But it's in the public interest for people to know these facts, and that's why I do it. Because, you know, I care about people. I care about people in my country and from around the world, and I don't want to see anything happen to them at the London Olympics or for any other event or on the tube or anything.
What do you think the defining moment could be? A terror attack, a bioweapon released, and then the troops appear from NATO and UN to save everyone, and, oh, we learn how great it is to be occupied? Because I know they've done those drills here, NLEO 9, NLEO 10, NLEO 11. People can look those up. I mean, what do you think's happening? What are they planning to do with 100,000 troops?
You know, I really don't know. However, what I've sort of been speculating on is the fact that what would make people want to leave London? And basically, it's going to be a bioweapon of some kind. You know, if a bomb goes off at the stadium, yeah, it needs to be, you know, quite a large bomb or anything, but it won't be a nuclear bomb or anything like that. It will be a bomb, and it will just go off one of these probably high-velocity air bombs that they've got now, and they'll say it's a biological weapon, and it won't be. They'll just say it. And then the troops will come in, and people will want to leave London. People will be trying to desperately getting out.
Well, number one, I mean, I don't get scared of big crowds, but I don't like it. I mean, I remember being a kid at a Dallas Cowboys game and going, man, what happened if something just instinctively, a child, I couldn't put my finger on it, but now I know, instinctively, if there's a stampede, a fire, whatever, it's a death trap. And this will have to be investigated, obviously, further. I hope your story is inaccurate, but from credible sources, they say you're credible, and this fits the MO. It's all theater to begin with. Now, could the supervisor have been mistaken about what he was told? How many people told you that there will be this big defining event?
Well, 2 trainers were in the room at any one time. There's one trainer giving a presentation and another trainer basically sitting in the corner and checking what they say. And
so this is standard training, is that a big defining moment's coming up?
That's right. 800 people a day have gone through that training centre, and every 800 people that go through have been told this.
And so the rest of the story is the media needs to go vet your story, but they won't, telling us it's probably true. We'll be right back. Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139. All right, I'm coming down off of the blood-pumping, headache-inducing anger over the global crime syndicate and its private collection agency with the private Federal Reserve, the IRS, quasi-government, running my health care and grabbing money out of my bank account, being upheld by the Supreme Court after the sucker punch of saying it wouldn't be. We knew that was a fraud. Hospital stocks soar on Supreme Court's ruling to uphold Obama's signature health care law. I had a moron call in earlier and say the insurance companies didn't write it when they're on record bragging the head of their lobby. All over the news saying, I mean, it's just, these poor little mainline liberals are like little children. They just have no idea. And now the Supreme Court says it's a tax to the private insurance companies. I mean, you know, just, and they just can't understand that. They just can't get it's a big scam and they're a schmuck. Let's go to Lee, investigative journalist. I'll just leave it at that. The articles are up at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. I obviously want to get you back up on the nightly news sometime next week as we get closer to all of this. The rest of the story is that you've tried to already get this to national media, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a contact at Channel 4 News, who I regularly work with, and this story was actually originally going to go out through him, and he basically told me, he said, there's a blackout on this story, we're not doing it. And I said, oh. So I tried my other contacts, the other major media, and they said, we're not going to do anything that's going to go against the Olympics. And I was like, well, how do I get this story out? And the fabulous Tony Gosling said, you know, he invited me onto his show, so we could break the story that way. I couldn't even get it into a paper, you know, or anything like that. So that's why I turned to Tony Gosling, you know, and he's great, and his show was amazing. We've had an amazing response from it.
Well, we need to get this out to people because I've never had so much chatter and sources that won't name themselves for a couple months saying, watch the Olympics, something's big is going to happen. And we know it. We know the Germans would stage the deal at the Olympics in '72. I mean, that's admitted in One Day in September, Academy Award-winning documentary. And again, the whole movie is about Islamic terrorists and everything. And at the end, they admit, by the way, we staged it with them.
Hello?
Yes, are you there?
Yes, no, I'm here. Yeah, great. Sorry, I thought you'd gone then.
No. I'm just marveling that they may go ahead with this even though you've exposed it. That's how dumb they think we are.
Well, yeah, you know, one of the reasons why, you know, I wanted to expose it was to hopefully to say, hey, look, you know, we know something's wrong. We don't know exactly what you're going to do, but you're going to do something, and hopefully expose this so that they change their plans and do nothing. That's my hope. I mean, there's 4 weeks to go, and I'm trying to get this everywhere I possibly can. I mean, you know, one example was that they were faking the bomb checks in the stadium for the past 3 years, and that came out the other day in a newspaper here. And a couple of guys from G4S got sacked, but, you know, it hasn't gone any higher than that. They said, oh, well, you know, it's these guys' fault. If you're faking the bomb checks in the stadium for the past 3 years, you put your name to it, that is fraud, and that needs to be a criminal investigation. But, of course, no one investigates G4S. They're actually above the law, and that's what worries me.
I want to set you up for the nightly news with an in-depth commercial-free interview, Lee. Thank you so much. We'll be in contact today, and thank you for all the work you're doing, and I look forward down the road. Hopefully at some time you can reveal your identity after you've been employed there. Are you planning to do that?
Yes, absolutely, sir. I will do that. It's the big reveal.
All right, well, we'll do that in the aftermath, and hopefully we can avert this false flag. We have a special guest coming up to give us his medical take on what's happening with government-run healthcare straight ahead. And I've got CBS News is going to be here to interview me. And not a good day to interview me, probably. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.